One weapon would revolutionize the war at sea: the submarine, or U-boat, as the Germans called it. When war began, the British Navy had more submarines than Germany. Life on board was in stark contrast to the big battleships.
To me, it was claustrophobia, or whatever they call it. You know, I liked to be where I could get out. I didn't like to be closed in. And submarines were terrible, really. They were small and so vulnerable.
It was all volunteers. Reason to get a shilling a day extra. And there wasn't many submarines, so they didn't want a lot of men to volunteer. But as they went further on, we got more, and they had to go in them. I didn't want to go, but they had to go. But after we saw them after, they were delighted. The submarine, they're all as one, you see. You're the Lieutenant, I'm a stoker. We both work together, because you get hit, you've got to know what to do, you see, in a submarine.
The British used their submarines for patrols in support of the surface fleet. The German U-boats would have a totally different purpose. They became the lone hunters, and they gave Germany its one truly effective naval weapon of the war. Much of a U-boat's lonely time in the ocean was still spent on the surface, allowing moments of peace and calm.
After an excellent supper on the fresh fish given to us by our fishermen friends, we were glad to clamber up on the conning tower to enjoy the northern evening air and a cigar. Grey and violet hues replaced the shining glow of sunset.
Underneath the water, as the U-boat went in search of its prey, life became very different.
The atmosphere below was really beyond description. An appalling burst of heat flung me backwards. The thermometer stood at nearly 45 degrees Celsius. The men were standing over their engines in the bare minimum of clothing, and their drawn, gaunt faces, smeared with oil and filth, looked like skulls.
In September 1914, this new underwater threat showed its murderous potential. 3 aging British battleships, the Aboukir, Hogue and Cressy, were sunk in a single day by one German U-boat. A British midshipman wrote home with the remarkable story of his survival.
Dear Granny, I had a most thrilling experience. We were woken by a terrific crash and the whole ship shook. The Aboukir went down suddenly and we slid down her side into the water. I swam to the Hogue and was just going on board when she was struck and sunk in 3 minutes. I then swam onto the Cressy, where I had a cup of cocoa. But as I finished it, she was struck. I jumped off again. I was picked up, having been 3 hours in the water.
1,400 other sailors lost their lives. The U-boat was able to sneak up on its target without being seen.